Hope you all are doing good. So we are going to deal with certain potential topics in neurophysiology. The first topic we are going to discuss are the tracts. So many students consider tracts as a very confusing and a complicated topic in neurophysiology, but it is actually a very simple one. If you are understanding the basics of the pathways, then you will be able to answer all the questions which are asked in this topic. We are going to see few questions which are commonly asked in our competitive exams, and then we will go in depth of this topic. The first question being, all the following sensations are carried by medial lemniscal system except. So the options are vibration, position sense, pressure and temperature. So the next question, tract of Gall is associated with. So the options are anterolateral tract, spinocerebellar tract, posterior column and corticospinal tract. So third question, the sensations carried by spinothalamic tract are. Options are vibration, itch, tactile discrimination, sexual sensations and finally temperature. It is a PGI type of question where we have more than one answer. So the first question is, the second order neurons of dorsal column starts from. The options are spinal cord, medulla, thalamus and internal capsule. The last question before entering into our topic is, pyramidal tract crosses at the level of. The options are thalamus, pons, medulla and spinal cord. So before entering into the topic proper, I just want to give an outline of what is a tract. So what are tracts? There are two possibilities. Tracts can be the neuronal pathways that can connect the central nervous system with the periphery and the periphery with the central nervous system. Hope we all know what is central nervous system. So central nervous system consists of two important parts, the brain and the spinal cord. So there are two types of tracts, the tracts which connect the periphery with the central nervous system, and the another one, the tracts which connect the central nervous system with the periphery. So these tracts, the tracts which connects the periphery to the central nervous system are called as ascending tracts. So here periphery, I am referring to the receptors. So receptor is nothing but anything that receives signals is called a receptor. So ascending tracts are the ones or the neuronal pathways which connect the receptors with the central nervous system. So these tracts are all called as ascending tracts. They are also called as afferent tracts. They are also called as sensory tracts. So just remember, ascending tracts, afferent tracts and sensory tracts all are same. Similarly, there are some tracts which starts from the central nervous system and come to the periphery. So these tracts are called as descending tracts. They are also called as efferent tracts, also called as motor tracts. So just remember, descending tracts, efferent tracts and motor tracts all are same. So this is a gross idea about the ascending and descending tracts. So we are going to deal with each and every important tract which are commonly asked in our competitive exams. So the ascending tracts are again classified into two types, major tracts and minor tracts. Similarly, the descending tracts are classified as major tracts and minor tracts. So just remember, anything that starts with spino will be an ascending tract, anything that starts with spinal will be a descending tract. For example, there are three major ascending tracts. Just remember, we have three major ascending tracts or afferent tracts or sensory tracts. The first one is being dorsal column. Second one is spinothalamic tract. And third one being spinocerebellar tract. So just remember, we have three important major ascending tracts. The first one being dorsal column, the next one is spinothalamic tract and the third one is spinocerebellar tract. And we have the major descending tract is our pyramidal tract. So commonly pyramidal tract is also called as corticospinal tract. But actually pyramidal tract has another important component called corticonuclear tract, which is also called as corticobulbar tract. So just remember, pyramidal tract has two components, corticospinal and corticonuclear. The other name of corticonuclear is corticobulbar. So these are the major tracts in both ascending and descending components. And we have other minor tracts. What I have told, anything that starts with spino will be a ascending tract, anything that ends with spinal will be a descending tract. So what are the other minor descending tracts are? What I have told, anything that ends with spino. So the other minor descending tracts are rubrospinal, So this tract starts from rubro means red nucleus. It starts from rubro, I mean red nucleus, and it comes to the spinal cord. Hence it is called as rubrospinal. Another thing, vestibulospinal. Tectospinal. Reticulospinal. So these are the minor descending tracts. Just remember rubrospinal, what I have told, anything that ends with spinal will be a descending tract. So we have rubrospinal, vestibulospinal, tectospinal and reticulospinal. So we are going to give more importance to the major ascending tracts and major descending tracts, which are nothing but dorsal column, spinothalamic tract, spinocerebellar tract and pyramidal tract. So pyramidal tract has two components, corticospinal tract and corticonuclear tract. So we are going to deal with each tract separately. So we will start with the major most important ascending tract, which is nothing but our dorsal column. So before tracing the pathway of dorsal column, we should know the other names or the synonyms of dorsal column. So the dorsal column is also called as posterior column. This we can easily remember, posterior column. So the other names are tract of Gall and Burdach, fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. The last one being medial lemniscal system. So just remember, dorsal column has many other names. So the other names of dorsal column are posterior column, tract of Gall and tract of Burdach, fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus, medial lemniscal system. So all these names refer to dorsal column. So we have to remember the synonyms or the other name of dorsal column. The questions will be based on the different names of dorsal column. So we will start tracing the pathway, ascending pathway, which is nothing but our dorsal column. So another thing you have to remember, just remember all the sensations, I mean all the ascending tracts enter the spinal cord through the posterior aspect of the spinal cord. Just remember, sensory enters the spinal cord in the posterior aspect, whereas all the motor, which are nothing but all the motor tracts or all the motor components come out of the spinal cord in the anterior aspect. So just remember, all the ascending tracts or the sensations enter the spinal cord in the posterior aspect of the spinal cord, and all the descending tracts, especially the motor component, come out of the spinal cord in the anterior aspect of the spinal cord. This is another thing you have to remember. So this is nothing but our Bell-Megendi law. So now we will trace the dorsal column. So just remember, another thing you have to remember is any ascending tract will be having 3 order neurons. Any ascending tract will always have 3 order neurons, the first order neuron, second order neuron and third order neuron. So we will be having 3 neurons in each ascending tract, the first order neuron, the second order neuron and third order neuron. So we are going to classify, we are going to trace the dorsal column pathway in this. So we will start with the first order neuron. So we will draw a diagram in an easier way. Consider this is our spinal cord and this is our medulla, this is our thalamus. What I have told, all the ascending tracts enter the spinal cord in the posterior aspect of the spinal cord. I have told the first order neuron starts from the receptor. So let me represent the receptor as R. So before entering into the pathway, we will see what are the sensations carried by dorsal column. So dorsal column carries lot of sensations. It is one of the major ascending tracts. So we will see the sensations carried by the dorsal column. The first sensation is soft touch. The next one is tactile localization. Tactile localization. What is tactile localization? Tactile means touch. So we are able to localize where we are experiencing the sensation of touch. For example, if someone is touching you somewhere, you will be able to say he is touching me here and there. So this is called tactile localization. So the ability to localize the touch is called tactile localization, which is carried by our dorsal column. So next one is tactile discrimination. So tactile discrimination is nothing but 2-point discrimination. It is the ability to identify or it is the ability to feel 2 different points of touch as differently. So this is called tactile discrimination. The fourth one is pressure. So pressure is carried by dorsal column. Fifth one is vibration. Sixth one is there is something called proprioception. So there is something called proprioception. Proprioception is nothing but position sense. So proprioception, vibration, pressure, tactile discrimination, tactile localization, soft touch. All these sensations are carried by dorsal column. All the sensations have very different types of receptors. For example, there are something called tactile receptors or touch receptors. The common touch receptors are Merkel's disc and Meissner corpuscle. So these are called as touch receptors. I have told first order neuron always start from the receptor. So the receptor for touch are Merkel's disc and Meissner corpuscle. Similarly, we have receptors for all the senses. For example, another importantly asked question in the exam is the receptor for pressure is. So the receptor for pressure is. Just remember P for P. It is Pacinian corpuscle. The receptor for pressure is Pacinian corpuscle. What are tactile receptors? Merkel's disc, Meissner corpuscle. These are called as touch receptors. So here I am referring as R. Here it stands for receptor. I have told the first order neuron starts from the receptor. Since it is a sensory tract, it enters the spinal cord in the posterior aspect of the spinal cord. So just remember two things. All the ascending tracts enter the spinal cord in the posterior aspect of the spinal cord. And second thing is the first order neuron always starts from a receptor. So we are going to trace the dorsal column pathway step by step. So first we will start with the first order neuron. I have told already the first order neuron starts from the receptor. So the first order neuron starts from the receptor. We have something called DRG, which is nothing but dorsal root ganglia. So there is something called dorsal root ganglia. So just remember the first order neuron starts from the receptor. It enters the spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia. So just remember this is our first order neuron. The first order neuron of dorsal column starts from the receptor. It enters the spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia and it ascends. So the first order neuron of dorsal column starts from the receptor. It enters the posterior aspect of the spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia and it ascends. It reaches medulla. We have two nuclei in medulla called nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus. You can correlate now. We have already seen the other names of dorsal column. So dorsal column is also called as fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. So dorsal column got its other name from the name of the two nuclei, nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus. So we have two nuclei here at the level of medulla. So nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus. So here it marks the end of our first order neuron. So just remember first order neuron starts from the receptor, enters the posterior aspect of the spinal cord, it ascends, it reaches medulla and it synapses with two nuclei, nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus. So the first order neuron ends here. Now we are going to see the second order neuron. So the second order neuron starts from the first synapse. So this is our first synapse. So it starts from the nucleus gracilis and cuneatus. It crosses to the opposite side. And it ascends and reaches thalamus. So the second order neuron starts from nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus. It crosses to the opposite side. This is called as sensory decussation. So decussation is nothing but crossing to the opposite side. So the second order neuron starts from nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus. It crosses to the opposite side and it ascends and it reaches thalamus. So you have to remember two important landmarks here. The first one is medulla, the second one is thalamus. And remember the nucleus called PVL or VPL. So it is nothing but ventro-posterolateral nucleus or postero-ventrolateral nucleus. Both are same. We have ventro-posterolateral nucleus of thalamus. Posterolateral nucleus of thalamus. Just remember this name. Ventro-posterolateral nucleus of thalamus. It is a part of ventrobasal complex. Ventrobasal complex. So we are going to see thalamus in the upcoming classes. So we just remember the name ventro-posterolateral nucleus. thalamus. This nuclei will get repeated in other sensory tracts also. So just remember the name, ventro-posterolateral nucleus of thalamus. So the second order neuron, it starts from nucleus gracilis and cuneatus, it crosses to the opposite side, it ascends and it reaches thalamus. It synapses with the nucleus, ventro-posterolateral nucleus of thalamus. So here the second order neuron ends. So from there the third order neuron arises and it reaches the cerebral cortex, which is nothing but the sensory cortex. Sensory cortex. So just remember, we have traced the pathway of dorsal column. I'll draw the pathway again. So the dorsal column, the first order neuron starts from the receptor. It enters the posterior aspect of the spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia and it ascends. It reaches medulla. So the first order neuron ascends and reaches medulla. We have two important nuclei called nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus. The first order neuron ends here. After this, the second order neuron starts from here and it crosses to the opposite side and it reaches the thalamus. The thalamus, what is the name of the nuclei? I told you to remember, which is nothing but our ventro-posterolateral nucleus. So there it synapses. So here forms the second synapse. From there, the third order neuron arises and it reaches the cerebral cortex, which is nothing but our sensory cortex. So this is the pathway of our dorsal column. So before that, we will see why it is called as tract of, what is tract of Gall and tract of Bardak. I have already told dorsal column is also called as fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. We have these two different nuclei or two different pathways, means the sensations which are carried by the dorsal column from the lower limb are carried by the fasciculus gracilis. So gracilis is with lower limb. So gracilis is with lower limb and cuneatus is with upper limb. Upper limb and upper part of the body. Similarly, tract of Gall is concerned with the sensations which are carried by dorsal column from the lower limb, and Bardak are concerned with the sensations carried from the upper limb. So just remember, tract of Gall is also called as fasciculus gracilis, which is concerned with the sensations from the lower limb, and tract of Bardak is also called as fasciculus cuneatus, which are concerned with the sensations from the upper limb. So this is a gross idea, the pathway of the dorsal column. It is also called as medial lemniscal system. You have to remember this, medial lemniscal system. Now, what are the lesions which are associated with dorsal column? It's absolutely logic, based on logic. So just remember, any lesion that occurs below the level of medulla, let me say, so this is left, this is right. For example, the dorsal column is affected due to some spinal shock or any road traffic accidents. If dorsal column is affected on the right side, what happens? The sensations on the same side will get affected. So if the dorsal column is affected in the right side below the level of medulla, the same side the sensations are affected. So it is called as same side effect. Whereas just imagine if the dorsal column is affected here. So we have another dorsal column which is coming from the opposite side. So if the dorsal column is affected here, the sensations from the opposite side are affected. Final conclusion is, if there is some lesion associated with dorsal column below the medulla, same side is affected, whereas if there is a lesion concerned with the dorsal column above the level of medulla, opposite side is affected because of the crossing over that takes place at the level of medulla. So this crossing over, which is also called as, I have already told, this is nothing but our sensory decussation. So it marks the end of our dorsal column. Little bit revision of the dorsal column, I have already told, it is also called as fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. Gracilis is from lower limb, cuneatus is from upper limb, also called as tract of Gall, it is also called as tract of Bardak. The crossing over takes place at the level of medulla. The crossing over takes place at the level of medulla. From there we have our second order neuron, it reaches our thalamus. What is the name of the nuclei we have to remember? It's VPL, ventro-posterolateral nucleus of thalamus. From there we have our third order neuron which reaches our sensory cortex. So this is the pathway of our posterior column or dorsal. So the second tract, the second assigned tract we are going to see is spinothalamic tract. Spinothalamic tract. So spinothalamic tract, it is also called as anterolateral tract, anterolateral tract or anterolateral system. Why it is called anterolateral tract means it has two components, anterior component and lateral component. Just remember the spinothalamic tract has two components, anterior spinothalamic component and lateral spinothalamic component. Hence it is called as anterolateral tract. So this is the other name of your spinothalamic tract. So second point, what are the sensations carried by spinothalamic tract? Sensations carried by spinothalamic tract. I have already told it has two components, anterior component and lateral component. So the sensation which is carried by anterior spinothalamic tract is only one thing, crude touch. We have already seen soft touch. Soft touch is carried by, already we have seen, soft touch is carried by dorsal column, whereas crude touch is carried by, just remember, anterior component of spinothalamic tract or anterior spinothalamic tract. Lateral component carries many other sensations. You have to remember two important sensations. The first one is pain. Second one is temperature. So just remember, pain and temperature are carried by the lateral component of spinothalamic tract or lateral spinothalamic tract. It also carries other sensations which include itching, tickling and sexual sensations. So what are the sensations carried by spinothalamic tract? It is crude touch, which is carried by anterior spinothalamic tract. Lateral spinothalamic tract is concerned with pain and temperature. The other sensations which are carried include itching, tickling and sexual sensations. Now we are going to trace the pathway of our spinothalamic tract. I have already told the first order neuron always starts from the receptor. Let me come to another important question. What is the receptor for pain? This is another frequently asked question in the competitive exams. So the receptor for pain are called as free nerve endings. Free nerve endings. They are also called as nociceptors. So pain is also called as nociception. So what are the receptors for pain? It is free nerve endings. What are the receptors for pressure? Pacinian corpuscles. So Pacinian corpuscles for pressure, free nerve endings for pain. So pain receptors are also called as nociceptors. So the first order neuron starts from the receptor. I have already told it's a sensory pathway, hence it enters the posterior aspect of the spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia. The first order neuron starts from the receptor, it enters the spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia in the posterior aspect of the spinal cord and it ascends. So this is our first order neuron. But what happens in spinothalamic tract is it crosses at the level of medulla after ascending 2 to 3 segments. But before that, we have the first synapse formed here. So the point here is the first order neuron of spinothalamic tract starts from the receptor, it enters the posterior aspect of the spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia and it ascends for 2 to 3 segments and it synapse here. So this part we have multiple lamina. So just remember we have lamina 1 and 2. So the spinothalamic tract, the first order neuron of spinothalamic tract synapses with lamina 1 and 2 of the spinal cord and it crosses to the opposite side. And the crossing over will always be taken over by the second order neuron. So it is always the second order neuron that crosses to the opposite side. We have already seen in dorsal column, the second order neuron crosses at the level of medulla. So it is the second order neuron which always crosses. Similarly here the second order neuron crosses to the opposite side. The most important point here is the crossing over takes place at the level of spinal cord itself, whereas in dorsal column the crossing over takes place at the level of medulla. So the second order neuron starts from these two lamina. Remember these two lamina. We have multiple lamina. The most important lamina are lamina 1 and lamina 2. So from there we have the second order neuron. It crosses to the opposite side and it ascends. So at the level of medulla nothing happens. At the level of thalamus, I have already told what is the name of the nuclei you have to remember. It's ventro-posterolateral nucleus, also called as ventrobasal complex. So ventro-posterolateral nucleus. So it reaches the ventro-posterolateral nucleus and it synapse here. So this is our second synapse. So second order neuron ends at the level of thalamus. From there we have the third order neuron and it reaches the sensory cortex. So we will see it again. The first order neuron of spinothalamic tract starts from the receptor. It enters the posterior aspect of the spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia and it ascends for 2 to 3 segments. After ascending 2 to 3 segments, it synapses with, just remember the names, lamina 1 and 2. After synapsing, it crosses to the opposite side and it ascends in the opposite side. It reaches the thalamus. What is the name of the nuclei? We have to remember it is ventroposterolateral nucleus of thalamus. So from the ventroposterolateral nucleus of thalamus, the third order neuron arises and it reaches the sensory cortex. So this is the pathway of our spinothalamic tract. If you remember, if you understand this pathway, then pain pathway will be very easy to understand. We all know pain is carried by the lateral spinothalamic tract. So now coming to the applied aspects, what happens when spinothalamic tract is affected below the level of medulla, above the level of medulla? You can see it here. We have another spinothalamic tract in the opposite side. What happens when this side is affected? This is your left, this is your right. So when the tract is affected in the left side, the sensations carried from the opposite side of affected. So this is the main difference between the dorsal column and spinothalamic tract. We have seen in dorsal column, if the dorsal column is affected below the level of medulla, same side is affected. Above the level of medulla, opposite side is affected. Whereas in spinothalamic tract, both below the level of medulla, above the level of medulla, only the sensations from the opposite side are affected. So this is another important difference between dorsal column and spinothalamic tract. So this is an idea. So it starts from the receptors. It enters the posterior aspect of spinal cord through the dorsal root ganglia. But what happens? It crosses at the level of spinal cord. What they say is it ascends for 2 to 3 segments. Very few fibers can even cross at the level of entry itself. So just remember, it crosses at the level of spinal cord, either at the level of entry or after ascending 2 to 3 segments. After crossing, before crossing, it snaps with what I have told, lamina 1 and 2. Lamina 1 and 2. After that, it crosses to the opposite side. It is always the second order neuron that crosses to the opposite side. And it reaches, what is that? It reaches our thalamus. The same ventroposterolateral nucleus or ventrobasal complex. So from there, we have our third order neuron arises from the thalamus and it reaches the somatosensory cortex or sensory cortex. So this is the pathway of our spinothalamic tract.